Higher consciousness. What is higher consciousness? What is consciousness? What is low consciousness? It is understood that higher consciousness is truly living beyond the space of reality, if you will. Higher consciousness is truly placing forth a desire to see the world through the eyes of Source. When ones arrive to Mother Earth and they experience life in physical form, consciousness is held with the understanding that it is to be brought forth. Now, not every person brings forth a level of consciousness. Having a scale of consciousness, 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, to experience the grandest, greatest sense of highest consciousness, one would have to reside at a level 10. It is understood that when ones arrive to Mother Earth, they arrive with a consciousness level of, let us say, 1, 2, 3. It is a metaphor. It doesn't truly work like this, but for simplicity explanation, it does work like this. Because it is through conditioning in physical form that one searches for highest consciousness, higher consciousness, or any consciousness at all. We often ask the question, where were you before your arrival upon Mother Earth? Who were you before your arrival upon Mother Earth? Where will you be after your departure from Mother Earth? And who will you be after departing Mother Earth, after departing physical form as you know it? As you know yourself to be this moment. Higher consciousness, when ones are not in physical form, is the grandest, greatest sense of love in the purest, grandest sense of the word, and words do not even come close to the expansion of eternal light in the wholeness, in the oneness, in the vastness. So we often say, would there be a quarrel in the heavens? Most would feel that is absurd. For most feel that when one's transition from physical form to non-physical form, one transitions into the grandest, greatest sense of love and light. When one is, we want to say, ready to wake up, we can use the word awaken to higher consciousness. One must make the choice for higher consciousness for oneself. For you cannot make another conscious of any one thing unless they are ready to receive and to themselves want and desire to bring forth their own level of consciousness. How does consciousness come about to be elevated? The first in the understanding is that we want to say the foundation for highest consciousness, is the understanding that all is one. Creation is creation. There are no mistakes in creation. In your arrival upon Mother Earth is held the components to bring forth higher consciousness, not only for yourself, but to share higher consciousness for the planet. We often ask, peace on the planet, is it possible? And the answer is a resounding yes. But where would it start? It would have to start within oneself. So higher consciousness, what is it? What is consciousness? And truly consciousness is being awakened and aware of being awakened and aware of consciousness. We want to tie in emotions to consciousness. For if one was void of emotion, one would be void of a high level of consciousness. Ones can be neutral, see it as neutral, and in higher consciousness, most see the world as neutral, but have the greatest, deepest understanding of the emotional impact for oneself and for others. In the understanding that higher consciousness is a vibration of energy. So we will tie all this in. To experience higher consciousness, one has to make a choice to experience higher consciousness. And the components for higher consciousness is love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, and grace. When we speak about compassion, we speak about the depths of compassion. We speak about the depth of your inner essence of who you are, the you before arriving to physical form, the you that will depart physical form into non-physical, to reside in the oneness, in the wholeness, in the vastness, if you will, of all divine perfection of creation. Higher consciousness is allowing space for ones to live in the state of this pureness in physical form. When we speak about love, when we speak about light, when we speak about compassion and kindness and forgiveness, we speak in the depths of your soul. We are not speaking about, oh, light and love, and then cut somebody off in the parking lot. Oh, I light and love, and I am so spiritual that looking down upon the others that have not chosen that spiritual path. That is not the light and love we speak about. We are not speaking about trendy buzzwords. We are speaking about the highest level of compassion, the highest level of love, the highest level of kindness and forgiveness, for one to experience the highest level of consciousness, because you cannot have a high level of consciousness without the highest level of compassion and love and forgiveness and kindness. It cannot be done. When one chooses and decides to live in higher consciousness, one has chosen to live in truly the divine light from which they have arrived from. Ponder that. It is big. When ones arrive to Mother Earth, they arrive under conditioning. They arrive under other sculpting. They arrive under the umbrella of beliefs, whether they are right or wrong or indifferent. And what is right and wrong, because what is right to another is wrong to another. What is wrong to another is right to another. It is all a choice. So higher consciousness is most certainly a choice. And we are not speaking about scratching the surface. We are speaking about a level of compassion so grand that ones would naturally see the world through the eyes of Source. Compassion, it is a choice. And ones will argue and say it cannot be a choice. Yes, compassion is most certainly a choice. So let's take that scale, a scale from 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. There are ones that would be at an 8, 9, 10 level of compassion towards their spouse, their lover, their son, their daughter, their mother, their father, grandparent, best friend, and be at a 1, 2 level for a total stranger on the street. How is that? How does one choose their level of compassion? Ponder it. Because ones will say, well, I'm very compassionate. Yes, but are you compassionate with all things and with all beings upon Mother Earth? The foundation for higher consciousness, highest consciousness, higher consciousness, an elevated expression of consciousness lies on the foundation that all is one, all is creation. So when ones have the understanding that all is one, there would never be an unkind word, there would never be cruelty, there would never be punishment, if you will. Now we'll get into that in later segments. This is our introductory sharing. So when you think about compassion and you feel that you have the highest sense of compassion, would you agree that you have the highest sense of compassion to all things? Would you feel compassion towards one that has caused great havoc? Would you feel compassion to one that has just stolen a loaf of bread? Would you feel compassion towards someone who has hurt your heart so badly that you can mend your broken heart? Compassion is a choice. And then to reverse that scale, there are ones that are extremely at a 10, 9, 10 on the compassionate level towards an animal, towards a stranger, risking their life for a total stranger, risking their life to save an animal. That's compassion. And you do not have to risk your life to live in compassion. What we are saying is, What would make one risk their life for a stranger or for an animal? And that same one may not have compassion towards their loved ones. They may hold anger and resentment and frustration towards their spouse or their lover, their mother or their father, their son or their daughter. So when you think about higher consciousness, we shared that it ties into emotions. And isn't it true that anger, resentment, war within oneself would prevent compassion at a 10? For how could you be compassionate to all beings if you feel anger or resentment or frustration or jealousy? How does it all work? So we are sharing these segments to allow ones to ponder, to bring forth one's own wisdom, because each soul has arrived with their own wisdom. It is under the conditioning, under the dogma, if you will, under the, we want to say, the belief system of others and the belief system one has created through their experience of life. Higher consciousness is truly, we want to say, removing belief systems that do not serve for one to raise the level of consciousness. Now, if one had a belief that all are one and all was and is created in love, ones would see the world through the eyes of Source. But when one is moving about their daily activity and they come across something that shows the opposite of love, the opposite of compassion, the opposite of kindness, the opposite of forgiveness, it is easy to strike a belief, to create a belief, especially if it's over and over and over and over. Watch the evening news, watch the corruptness upon Mother Earth, and ones could easily find a space to feel that the whole world is corrupt. The whole world is corrupt. And with that belief, it would be impossible to live in higher consciousness with the understanding or the knowing of one's own personal belief that the world is corrupt. Ones would have to see it in a different way. Ones would have to apply compassion to the, we want to say, the devastation upon the planet, to create the energy and vibration to soothe the, we want to say, corruption on the planet. Now, we are asking for ones to walk along with us because it challenges a belief. Let us take forgiveness. Let us take forgiveness. Forgiveness is a choice, just like compassion, kindness. It is a choice. Love is a choice. Absolutely. So if someone or something has come along that has caused great amounts of havoc, heartache, loss, name it what you will, there are hundreds and thousands of reasons for forgiveness to be given, granted, shared, or asked for. And ones will say there is no way. There is no way I'm going to forgive this? Do you know what he or she, do you know what they have caused in my life? Do you know what they have done? Do you know what I have lost? There is no way I can forgive for the loss. And it is such a natural understanding and feeling, for it would not truly feel natural to forgive something that feels so unforgiving. Taking one to their knees in anguish and pain. How does one find forgiveness for something that has taken them down in anguish and pain? It would be a choice. It would reside in higher consciousness. In the next segments, we're going to share higher consciousness, different levels of, we are going to share personal energy, personal vibration. We are going to share how one can find their wisdom held within if they desire to create peace within oneself and peace among others. Peace on the planet, is it possible? A resounding yes. Peace in one's heart, mind, and soul, is it possible? A resounding yes. It starts from within, in the understanding that it is a choice. It does not feel like a choice. Why would one choose to be compassionate to a lover and show very little compassion to a stranger? And another will show compassion at its highest level to a stranger and very little compassion to a family member or a friend. Why is that? That's where ones can see that it is a choice, and the level of compassion is a choice. So one can feel that they are very compassionate, and they would be. But is one compassionate to all things? Is one compassionate to the war on the planet? Is one compassionate to one that has caused great amounts of pain? So we want to say, conclude, wrap this up, knowing there are many segments ahead. If you are at the place that something must change in order for you to feel better, you are tired, you are exhausted, you are frustrated, perhaps you are disheartened, disappointed, perhaps you just feel like you do not care anymore. Perhaps you are wanting to live in a greater expansion of what you are living. Ones often speak about finding happiness, waiting for something to happen to bring happiness, and all the while happiness is within. Why is it that anger is never truly a search? That resentment is never truly a search? Jealousy, never truly a search? Feeling less than, never a search. Ones feel that happiness is a search. Something so far off in the distance it will never be. And because they feel it will never be, they live in the energy vibration, their personal vibration, of never even looking forward to anything because it won't arrive. And if it does arrive, it will be filled with contrast. It will be filled with disappointment. So why look forward to something I cannot obtain or have, ones may say. What's the point of being happy when the world is in destruction mode, if you will? What's the point of it all? What is the point of life? Why am I here? Why did I choose to come here? And if I chose to come here, there is no way I could have chosen the life that I am living. So we want to create a pathway for you to travel upon if you so desire. If you so desire. When ones are seeking higher consciousness, they have a desire to seek higher consciousness. If the desire is not present, it is like it's not even on the realm of, meaning that if one feels that all this is BS, not wanting to explore higher consciousness, they would have stopped listening in the first 4 minutes because they are not in search. The only listener that will hear the message is ones in search for peace, for greatness, for contentment, for ease, for creation of all that is good. When ones wish and desire to create something better than they are experiencing, and that goes with emotions, one wants to place down the anger. They are tired of feeling angry. They are tired of feeling worn out. They are tired of. They want to place it down, not sure how. This is a pathway that is open to ones in search to explore, to feel better than perhaps one is feeling. So we're going to create segments for ones to hear. We want to say a powerful sharing, and it is only sharing. And it is a choice if ones wish to listen or not. The words are coming from collective consciousness, source energy, in the understanding of the highest compassion, the highest love, the highest kindness, the highest forgiveness. It is a sharing to allow ones to live in their highest consciousness as one lives, if you will, when one is the expansion of light. The sharing is a sharing to allow space for ones to find peace within oneself, in the desire, if you will, to create peace on the planet. If every soul was at a 10 in higher consciousness, all would only be creation of all that is good. There is great love for you.